Dear ones, November is about alignment, organization of the energies, alignment of the energies, and this may not necessarily show up in your physical reality yet, but those of you who feel the energies working behind the scenes, you will feel alignments, things coming together, old things leaving, things sorting themselves out at the energetic level. New energies coalescing and aligning in your multidimensional aspects for your personal reality, and global realignments. Again, old energies leaving, energies that do not serve at the personal and global level. And new energies coalescing, coming together, aligning at the personal, planetary, and multidimensional levels. This does not necessarily look like massive change yet in your physical reality, although for some of you, you will start to experience that, especially those of you who are on the front lines, so to speak. Those of you who have cleared out old stagnant energy from your lives, you will perhaps experience some of this massive change in November. This channel is asking if anything can be done to support this or these alignments. Dear ones, the answer is the same as usual, and this is to continue to do your inner work, continue to focus on your creations of light, continue to work with nature to purify yourselves and to align yourselves to your own soul essence, to your own soul missions and life purpose. The more deeply you are aligned to yourself and your own essence, the more support you can offer these greater alignments, these planetary alignments, these alignments for other humans. You can provide the templates for others to be aligned when you are aligned with yourself. I will say for some of you, dear ones, that there will be an exodus of sort of certain people from your lives. Some of you are coming to a place in your lives where you will need to make choices and decisions about whom you allow to remain in your lives. And this is not from a place of anger or frustration or I am better than you. This is from a place of honoring self and becoming very clear about what frequencies work in your life and what frequencies do not work in your life. Some of you have been allowing frequencies in your life that do not serve your mission, and they are interfering with your energies. And unfortunately, some people will need to be released and loved from a distance, so to speak. For those of you who are not necessarily sensitive and who do not necessarily feel the alignments occurring in the background, simply know that this is occurring and be aware that what you are seeing on the news or in the planetary theater, I will call it, is very much for show and an attempt to manipulate, control, add fear to the frequency of the planetary collective and the human collective. This is not what is happening, dear ones. What you see played out in the public eye is not what is happening. What is happening is a very powerful ascension process, as we have spoken of before. And the shadow energies that you see and sense are being transmuted into light. And dear ones, you can participate in this transmutation by not becoming attached to any narrative or storyline that unfolds within the public eye, but by bringing light and bringing love to yourself and to your fellow humans, and to see heaven on earth being restored. Now, this is not to say that there are not people suffering, that there is not war, that certain things are not unfolding in the physical. I am not saying this, dear ones, but I am saying that all of these things that you see, it is for show. And unfortunately, some beings are harmed in the process. But there is collusion at the global level to make you think that certain countries are battling against each other, to make you think that certain things are happening. But all of this is to increase fear levels, to increase cortisol in humans, to increase stress hormones so that they become out of balance. So it truly is a time, dear ones, where there is a strong invitation to master your bodies, your minds, your emotions, so that you can proceed with confidence in your role, whatever it may be, in the restoration of heaven on earth.
Speaking about the cortisol levels being raised, is there anything specific that we can take or do to reduce those levels of cortisol?
Dear ones, it is important to work with your breath. It is important to go out into nature, as I have mentioned. It is important to align and rewire your bodies and nervous systems to your soul essence, as this channel has guided you through several meditations on this. It is important to ground into your bodies. Some of you are not fully in your bodies. It is important for you to come back into your bodies. And again, it is important to take the larger perspective and not let your mind become overtaken with various potential fearful scenarios, but to master your mind and your emotional bodies.
Can you explain more about how to master your mind, some strategies to do that? Thank you.
Beautiful question, dear one. It is important to begin observing your thoughts, the way you think about things, the types of thoughts you have, the way your mind works. In other words, when you see something or read something that seems scary, do you immediately allow your mind to spin off in that direction? Or do you simply observe what you are reading without emotional reaction? So it is important to begin developing the observation skills. And then when you catch yourself spinning out in a certain direction or overthinking things or going into fearful type thinking, to stop your mind, to acknowledge what your mind is doing. Thank you, mind, for what you are doing. I now give you a different task and to think about things in this way instead. And so essentially to replace any what we will call negative thinking with positive thoughts, and to put your focus back on your creations of light, to put your focus back on the positive things that are happening. And a gratitude practice is very helpful for this, to write down so that it is cemented more in your mind, and not to type it, dear ones, but to write it with pen and paper, the things you are grateful for, as this wires into your brain the frequencies of gratitude. And this is a helpful mind management technique as well.
From the documentation, where they show the first pictures of cities like Moscow, London, or whatever cities those are from the mid-1800s, there are lots of houses, but no people on those pictures. And according to the pictures, it might be taken around mid-noon, so there should be at least one person visible there. There's always also mentioned in those cities, they have mud roads. So all the buildings are pretty much halfway buried in mud, and you have the first floor instead of the ground level floor on the road. There was mentioned about the orphans, lots of orphans at that time, the mid-800s, 1800s or late 1800s. I came across about one guy that looked at old books and did connections with timelines, and he comes up that every 138 years there are certain, let's say, disasters somewhere on the world. Is that all a connection between all of those things, or what is behind them?
Dear one, this is quite a massive topic indeed. The pictures that you have seen were somewhat staged in the sense of the people were asked to leave the streets so that the buildings and the mud streets could be showcased. Yes, there were natural disasters that changed the terraform of the earth, that changed the landscape. Many of these buildings survived because of how they were built. The architecture was very solid, and it was built to withstand such natural disasters, as many humans back then knew of the possibilities. Dear ones, this knowledge has been hidden from humanity, more and more hidden as time goes on, although that is shifting now in the other direction. But back then, humans did have the knowledge and understanding of natural disasters and what could occur. And so they constructed things in a way to withstand. And the natives, or the beings that did not live in such structural homes, were in tune with nature and knew where to go to survive. In many cases, not all, but in many cases, the natives were able to follow the patterns of nature in order to survive. The orphans were another type of, I will say, slave trade industry or harvesting industry, where this is done in a different way today, such as with your Planned Parenthood and organizations of this nature. There were ways of harvesting energy using children that were stolen from their families that existed back in those days as well. That is all I will say about that, dear ones.
What was that about that 138-year cycle with those disasters? What he found out through all those old books?
Are you asking if this is true?
Yes, or if there really something happening. He always connects it maybe with a certain planet here too that maybe comes close to Earth.
It is not necessarily every 138 years. It is a much greater picture than what planets come close to Earth. There's a greater orbit cycle at play within your galaxy. And part of it is engineered, and part of it is a more natural cycle within your galaxy. It is quite complex, dear one.
There has been, I guess I've been paying attention to Dr. Stephen Greer lately, and he's doing a lot of work on disclosure and also free energy. And I was wondering if you could just talk about that for a moment. He seems to be, the feeling I get when I listen is that he's kind of, we're really at the edge of a precipice here. Part of it feels dangerous. So I was just wondering if you could talk about that.
Yes, dear one, he is resurrecting ancient ways that were known about how to harness and use energy. And as with anything of this nature, it can be used for shadow or it can be used for the light. And so what you are sensing in terms of being on a precipice, or what is being spoken about in this way, is that the shadow forces very much know about this technology. And the light forces also very much know about this technology. And so, as with anything of polarity, because this is a polarity issue now, as with anything that is in polarity, it will eventually be used for the light. And I will reference many other conversations we have had about this, that there is nothing to fear because the light is going to transmute all of this shadow energy. And yes, it is dependent upon the collective and what choices are made at the human level, at the soul level, what choices are made of how to navigate on this planet. And so it is important that people have the information about what is possible so that they can choose the light instead of the shadow.
I just came across about a video clip that showed some trees moving, some of them swaying quite a bit back and forth, like drone footage. Other ones are taken with cell phone cameras where people see trees really moving really fast. And oh, there was a third thing that came up. Okay, what is behind it?
Dear ones, the trees are sentient beings with spirit, with intelligence, with soul. They're not like humans, but they have capability that, again, information that has been hidden. Some trees are meant to hold the energy in one place, and some trees are meant to move a bit from place to place to transfer energy. There are not many trees that play that role, but there are a few trees that are able to relocate themselves for the purpose of transferring energy from one place to another. Most trees operate in moving energy through their root systems. But from time to time, it is necessary for trees to completely relocate. They are serving to balance the energy on planet Earth. They are very much allies of your planet. This is also why there is such a mission to cut so many of them down, especially the ancient ones. None of this is by accident, dear ones. This is all part of shadow plan to harvest energy from planet Earth. I will close with this message, dear ones, as a reminder, and we have discussed this before, but as a reminder of the power that you have as humans and the importance of nurturing that power in the light, meaning developing and cultivating awareness about when you use your power, how you use your power, how it moves through you, how it moves through your words, how it moves through your energy. So that when you are speaking with someone, looking at someone, engaging with them, or simply exchanging energy in some way, you are using your power for the light as much as possible, coming from intentions and frequencies of love and goodwill towards others. When you are driving your cars and get frustrated with traffic, being mindful of the frequencies that are emanating from your being. When you are waiting in line at the grocery store and get impatient, being mindful of how you could shift this into gratitude that you are able to buy groceries and feed yourself, as an example. These little things that you do in your everyday life, these small daily activities, matter, dear ones. They are important. This is your spiritual work, to notice yourself in everyday life and to shift into greater power of love in these small activities that you may think are meaningless, but they are not, dear ones. They are important. Power is expressed in ways that do not always seem magnificent. but small gestures towards other humans, a smile, eye contact, sending love from your heart, offering your loving essence to another, carries great power. And it is important for humans to begin to understand that the thoughts they think about someone else are powerful. The energies and frequency they hold towards someone else are very powerful. The way you conduct yourself, the words that you speak, the thoughts you think, the feelings you feel. These are your power as humans, dear ones. And make no mistake, all that is expressed and emanated from you reverberates into the collective field. And for those of you who are being mindful, doing your inner work, you do not need to hold yourself to perfection. Grace is with you. I wanted to remind you, dear ones, because there is this idea in spiritual circles that power is flashy or has some type of big, showy display. But power lies within the little things, dear ones. And so I want to leave this reminder with you today. I thank you, dear ones. That was so beautiful, Prime Creator. Thank you. And I just want to say, for those of you who want to learn a little bit more about mastering your mind and working with that kind of power that Prime Creator is saying, I am now offering mentorships. So if you go to creationtemple.com/mentorship, you can fill out an application there and see if we are a fit to work together. So thank you guys for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Share them with your friends, and I will see you in the next one. Much love.